Part 1, the art class, learning about different forms of art. Introduction to the art class. It was a sunny Monday morning when Emily, a 10-year-old girl with big, curious eyes, woke up with excitement. Today was special because it was her first day in the new art class at school. She had always loved drawing and painting, but this class was different. It wasn't just about painting, it was about learning all kinds of art. Emily couldn't wait to find out what they would do. As she got ready, she thought about the art supplies she had packed in her bag. There were colored pencils, a sketchbook, some paint brushes, and a small box of watercolor paints. She had bought them with her mother a few days ago, and they were all new and shiny. I wonder what we will learn today, Emily thought as she walked to school. Meeting the teacher. When Emily entered the art classroom, she saw that it was different from the other rooms in the school. The walls were covered with bright, colorful paintings and drawings. There were sculptures made from clay on shelves and different art supplies neatly arranged in boxes. The room smelled like fresh paint and pencils. In the middle of the room stood Miss Clara, the art teacher. She was an older woman with silver hair tied in a bun, and she wore a long, flowery dress. Miss Clara had a warm smile and kind eyes. She welcomed each student as they came in. "Good morning, everyone," Miss Clara said, clapping her hands together. "Welcome to our art class. This class is about exploring different forms of art. We will paint, draw, sculpt, and maybe even learn about photography and music. Art is everywhere, and I can't wait to show you all the ways we can create it." Emily found a seat next to her best friend, Lily. They smiled at each other, both eager to begin. Learning about drawing, Miss Clara began the class by talking about drawing. She explained that drawing is one of the oldest forms of art. People have been drawing since the beginning of time, starting with simple pictures on cave walls. She showed the class some examples of different drawing styles, from detailed portraits to simple sketches. "Drawing is like telling a story with pictures," Miss Clara said. "You can use lines, shapes, and shading to show different emotions and ideas." She handed out paper and pencils to everyone. "Today, I want you all to draw something that makes you happy," she said. "It could be a person, a place, or even an idea. Remember, there is no right or wrong in art. It's all about expressing yourself." Emily thought for a moment and then began to draw. She decided to draw her family in the park because those were some of her happiest memories. As she drew, she remembered the warm sun, the green grass, and the laughter of her little brother as they played. She carefully drew each person and added details like the flowers and the trees in the background. When she was done, Miss Clara walked around the room to see everyone's work. She smiled at Emily's drawing and said, "This is lovely, Emily. I can see the happiness in your picture. You've done a great job capturing that feeling." Emily felt proud of her work and happy that Miss Clara liked it. Exploring painting. Next, Miss Clara introduced the class to painting. She explained that painting is another way to create art, but it's different from drawing because you use brushes and paint instead of pencils. She showed the students different kinds of paint, like watercolor, acrylic, and oil paints. Each type of paint had its own special qualities. Today, we will start with watercolors, Miss Clara said. Watercolors are light and transparent, and they are perfect for creating soft, beautiful images. She gave each student a small cup of water, a brush, and a set of watercolor paints. Remember, when you paint with watercolors, you need to use a little bit of water and a little bit of paint. The water helps to spread the color across the paper, and you can layer the colors to create different effects. Emily dipped her brush into the water, then into the blue paint. She gently touched the brush to the paper and watched as the colors spread out like a soft cloud. She experimented with different colors, blending them together to create a sunset over the ocean. The colors mixed in a way that made the scene look magical. As she painted, she felt a sense of calm. Painting was different from drawing. It felt more fluid and free. She could play with the colors and let them mix together in surprising ways. Miss Clara walked around the room again, offering tips and encouragement. Emily, your sunset is beautiful, she said. You've done a great job blending the colors. It feels peaceful and dreamy. Emily smiled, pleased with how her painting had turned out. She couldn't wait to take it home and show it to her parents. Discovering sculpture. After the painting lesson, Miss Clara introduced the class to something new: sculpture. She explained that sculpture is a form of art where you create three-dimensional objects using materials like clay, metal, or wood. She showed the class some small sculptures she had made, including a tiny bird, a tree, and a cat. Today, we will be using clay to make our own sculptures, Miss Clara said. You can create anything you like: a person, an animal, or even something from your imagination. Emily had never worked with clay before, so she was excited to try it. Miss Clara gave each student a small piece of clay and showed them how to shape it with their hands. The clay was soft and cool to the touch, and it could be molded into any shape. Emily decided to make a little cat because she loved cats and had one at home. She carefully shaped the body, then added the legs, tail, and ears. It took some time to get the details right, but she was patient. When she was done, her cat sculpture looked cute and a little funny, with big eyes and a tiny nose. Miss Clara admired everyone's sculptures and said, "These are wonderful. You've all done a great job using your hands and imagination to create something unique." Emily was proud of her cat sculpture. It wasn't perfect, but it was her creation, and that made it special. Part 2, the art class. Exploring more forms of art. The return to the art class. Emily couldn't stop thinking about the first art class. She had told her parents all about it, showing them the drawing, painting and clay sculpture she had made. They were so proud of her work and told her that she had a natural talent for art. Emily felt excited and couldn't wait to return to the art classroom. The following week, Emily walked into the art class with a spring in her step. She found her seat next to Lily, who was just as eager as she was to continue their artistic journey. The classroom felt like a second home now, filled with the smell of paint, the sound of pencils scratching on paper, and the sight of colorful artwork covering the walls. Miss Clara stood at the front of the room, her warm smile welcoming the students back. Good morning, everyone. I hope you all enjoyed our first class. Today, we will continue exploring the amazing world of art. We have so much more to discover. Learning about collage, Miss Clara started the class by introducing a new art form called collage. She explained that collage is an art technique where you take different pieces of paper, fabric, or other materials and glue them together to create a new picture. A collage is like a puzzle, Miss Clara said. You take different pieces and put them together to make something beautiful and unique. You can use old magazines, colored paper, or anything you like to create your collage. She handed out scissors, glue, and a variety of colored papers and magazines to the students. Today, I want you to create a collage that represents your favorite place, she said. It could be a place you visited, a place in your imagination, or even a mix of both. Emily thought about her favorite place. She loved the beach, with its golden sand, blue waves, and warm sun. She started cutting out pieces of blue paper for the ocean, yellow paper for the sand, and pictures of seashells from the magazines. She carefully glued them onto her paper, arranging them to look like the beach in her mind. As she worked, she noticed how different pieces of paper could come together to form something new. The collage wasn't just a flat picture, it had texture and layers. Each piece of paper added a different feel to the artwork. Miss Clara walked around the room, looking at everyone's collages. She stopped at Emily's desk and smiled. Emily, your collage is beautiful. I can almost feel the warmth of the sun and hear the waves crashing on the shore. You've done a wonderful job capturing the feeling of your favorite place. Emily beamed with pride. She loved how her collage had turned out and felt happy that Miss Clara could see the beach in it. Exploring photography. After the collage project, Miss Clara introduced the class to something completely different: photography. She explained that photography is the art of capturing moments and images using a camera. Photography is like freezing time, Miss Clara said. With a camera, you can capture a moment and keep it forever. Photographers use light, shadow, and composition to create beautiful images. Miss Clara had brought in some old cameras for the students to see. She explained how cameras work, showing them how to look through the viewfinder and focus on an object. Today, we're going to take pictures around the school, Miss Clara said. I want you to find something interesting: a tree, a shadow, or even a simple object and capture it with the camera. Think about how you want to frame the picture and what you want to show. Emily was excited to try photography. She had never used a camera before, but Miss Clara made it sound like a fun adventure. She borrowed one of the cameras and walked outside with her classmates. The schoolyard was full of interesting things to photograph: flowers, trees, and even the shadows of the buildings. Emily found a small flower growing near the playground. It was tiny but beautiful, with bright yellow petals. She crouched down and focused the camera on the flower, making sure to capture the sunlight shining on it. When she clicked the button, the camera made a soft sound, and the image was saved. After taking a few more pictures, Emily returned to the classroom with her classmates. Miss Clara gathered everyone around to look at the photographs. They talked about what they had captured and how different the world looked through the lens of a camera. "Emily, your photo of the flower is lovely," Miss Clara said. "You've captured the beauty of something small and delicate. Photography helps us see the world in new ways, and you've done a great job with that." Emily felt a new appreciation for photography. She realized that there was art all around her, waiting to be discovered and captured. Discovering music as art. Next, Miss Clara introduced the class to a different kind of art music. She explained that music is an art form that uses sound to express emotions and tell stories. "Music is a powerful form of art," Miss Clara said. "It can make us feel happy, sad, excited, or calm. Musicians use instruments and their voices to create beautiful sounds." She brought out a few simple instruments: tambourines, maracas, and small drums. "Today, we're going to make our own music," Miss Clara said. "We'll create a rhythm together and see how it feels to make art with sound." Emily had never thought of music as art before, but she was excited to try it. She picked up a tambourine and shook it, listening to the jingling sound it made. The other students picked up different instruments, and soon the room was filled with the sounds of tapping, shaking, and drumming. Miss Clara led the class in creating a simple rhythm. "Let's start with a basic beat," she said, tapping on her drum. The students followed along, adding their own sounds to the rhythm. The room filled with music, and Emily felt a sense of joy as they all played together. After a few minutes, Miss Clara asked the students to try creating their own rhythms. Emily and Lily worked together, tapping their instruments and experimenting with different beats. It was fun to see how the sounds changed when they played faster or slower. "Music is like painting with sound," Miss Clara said. "Just like with colors and shapes, you can create different feelings with different rhythms and melodies. You've all done a wonderful job today, creating your own music." Emily felt happy and energized by the music-making experience. It was different from drawing or painting, but it was still a way to express herself and be creative. Exploring mixed media art. For the final part of the class, Miss Clara introduced the students to mixed media art. She explained that mixed media is when you combine different art forms like drawing, painting, collage, and even sculpture to create a single piece of art. Mixed media is all about being creative and using different materials together, Miss Clara said. You can draw, paint, glue, and sculpt all in one artwork. The possibilities are endless. She handed out large sheets of paper and told the students to use any materials they wanted to create a mixed media piece. You can use anything we've learned so far: drawing, painting, collage, sculpture, and even photography, she said. Think about what you want to create and how you can combine different techniques to make it special. Emily felt a burst of creativity as she thought about what to make. She decided to create a picture of her dream garden. She started by drawing the outline of the garden with a pencil, adding trees, flowers, and a small pond. Then she used watercolors to paint the sky and the grass, making them bright and colorful. Next, Emily cut out pictures of flowers and animals from old magazines and glued them onto the paper. She added tiny clay sculptures of birds and butterflies, placing them carefully on the branches of the trees. Finally, she took a small photograph of the sun shining through the classroom window and glued it to the top of the paper, making it look like the sun in her garden. When she was finished, her mixed media artwork was full of color, texture, and detail. It felt like her dream garden had come to life on the paper. Miss Clara walked around the room, admiring everyone's work. When she reached Emily's desk, she paused and smiled. Emily, this is amazing. You've used so many different techniques to create a beautiful, vibrant garden. I can see your imagination in every part of it. You've truly captured the spirit of mixed media art. Emily felt a deep sense of satisfaction as she looked at her creation. The mixed media project had allowed her to bring together everything she had learned in the art class, and she was proud of the result. Conclusion of the art journey. As the art class came to an end, Miss Clara gathered the students together one last time. Over the past few weeks, we've explored many different forms of art, she said. We've drawn, painted, sculpted, taken photographs, made music, and created mixed media art. Each of you has shown incredible creativity and talent, and I am so proud of what you've accomplished. She continued, art is a journey, and there is always more to discover. Whether you're drawing with a pencil, painting with colors, or making music, you are expressing a part of yourself. Art is about finding your own voice and sharing it with the world. Emily felt a warm glow inside as she listened to Miss Clara's words. She realized that art wasn't just about making something beautiful, it was about expressing herself and seeing the world in new ways. The art class had opened her eyes to so many possibilities, and she knew that her artistic journey was only just beginning. As she left the classroom with her friends, Emily felt